All right, so now that you've acquired Maple, let's take a look at some of the things we can do with it. So let's go ahead and open Maple 17. It may take a minute. Now, the first time you open Maple, you may be asked whether you want to open your file in worksheet mode or document mode. We're going to go ahead and use worksheet mode. So notice we've got math selected and set to 2D input. So let's see some of the things you can use Maple to do. First of all, you can use Maple to factor. The obvious command is factor, and that is the command you use. For example, if we want to factor x squared plus 2x plus 1. We write factor, and then x squared plus 2x plus 1. Hit enter, and it factors it to x plus 1 squared. Similarly, we can use Maple to go the other way and multiply out. X plus 1 squared. Another interesting facet of Maple is that the percent sign refers to the last expression evaluated, which in this case is x squared plus 2x plus 1. So if we want to refactor x squared plus 2x plus 1, we could just write factor and then the percent sign to refer back to it. And there it factors again. You can use it to simplify algebraic expressions. If you just type in an arithmetic expression like 3 times 4 plus 6 to the 5th power, it'll just evaluate that expression for you. You can use it to simplify algebraic expressions. So you could simplify x minus 1, x minus 1 over x squared minus 2x plus 1, and that'll simplify to 1 over x minus 1. You can use it to evaluate an algebraic expression for a value of the variable. The command to evaluate is eval. So eval, say I want x squared minus 7x, and I want to evaluate it at x equals 3. So I write x squared minus 7x, which is the expression I want to evaluate, then a comma, then I specify the value of the variable. And it will give the value of that expression given the value for the variable. Just a quick note on how I'm typing the expressions. For example, when I type the polynomial x squared plus 2x plus 1, the way I type this is x, then a caret moves you into the exponent. So then I put the square, then I hit the right arrow key to move out of the exponent, and plus 2x plus 1. How I did that fraction, I can write a 1 slash, and that gives me a fraction, putting the slash. Then I hit the up arrow to go back to the numerator, put in the x minus, hit the down arrow to go back to the denominator, x caret to go into the exponent, 2, right arrow to get out of the exponent, minus 7, minus 2x plus 1. Right arrow to get out of the denominator. So those are some nice basic things that you can do in Maple. One of the most important functions of Maple is the ability to plot graphs. And at its most basic, you can just tell it plot. That says to graph a function. So you could say plot x squared. And that'll give you the graph of x squared. If you don't want it to plot the graph all the way from -10 to 10, you can tell it to plot the function x squared, and you can tell it where your endpoint should be in the x and the y direction. So say you want to graph it from -5 to 5. Instead, you would write x squared, comma, then x equals -5, dot, dot, so 2 dots, 5. And it'll plot the graph from -5 to 5 of x squared. If you want to specify y as well, plot x squared, say x equals -5 dot dot 5, and then y equals 0 dot dot 15. And that will graph x squared from -5 to 5 in the x direction and from 0 to 15 in the y direction. So you can plot graphs and specify the boundaries for your x and y coordinates. You can plot multiple graphs on the same axis by saying plot and open it, and then in brackets put the functions you want to graph. So say you want to graph x squared on the same graph as 2x. You can do that. You can specify the colors and the line styles. So say you want to plot x squared and you want to plot 2x, but you want a black solid line for x squared and a blue dotted line for 2x. You can specify those. You specify color and line type separately. So you would plot x squared and 2x, and you would say the color is equal to, since you're doing more than one function, you put it in brackets. You want the color of x squared first, the color of 2x second, and I want a solid line for the x squared and a dashed line for the 2x. So I also specify line style, solid for the first, and dash for the second. And see, that gives me my x squared solid in black and my 2x dashed in blue. Another thing to note, say you wanted a dashed line and you didn't know the line style option for a dashed line, you can actually, play around and make a guess. Say you want to plot 2x and you want a dashed line, so you try line style equals dashed because you don't know. Then you just try it and it says error, expecting option line style to be of type, and it tells you the possibilities: dash, dash, dot, dot, long dash, solid, space, dash, space, dot, and ticks. So frequently, if you just make a guess about an argument, the error message will tell you what it's supposed to be. So you would see, oh, I want dash instead of dashed. So you would say plot 2x line style equals dash, and it'll work. Other things you can do, if you want to plot, I don't know, x squared, but you want it with little bubbles instead for some reason, you can specify that it's graphed in little close together points instead of as a solid line, and tell it the symbol type is a circle, and it graphs you x squared with a bunch of little bubbles. It'll even graph parametric equations, and I'm not going to get into what that is, but I will give you a particular example, which is a vertical line can be graphed with the command plot, and then specify the x-intercept, the second variable, and give it a range. So this says we're going to plot the vertical line whose x is 5 and whose y goes from -8 to 8. Like so. So there's a few examples of things you can do in Maple and some of the stuff you can do with the plot command. Feel free to play around. There's a help menu with a tour and some reference stuff and lots of manuals and web resources, or you can Google stuff. Just have fun with it, play around, see what you can do.